Hi guys, welcome or welcome back. Let me fix my mic. Hello? Is that better? Hopefully that's better. Long time no see. I feel like I say that every like 4 videos because I just end up taking the longest breaks, but I had a good reason this time. I got married. I'm married now. This past like month has been quite literally insane, and I'm happy that it is wrapped up. It is over. The craziness is done, and now I get to enjoy married life. The grind never stops, so we are back at it. I got back into town from the wedding a couple of days ago, and I've just been kind of like soaking in the married life, and I miss talking to you guys, so it's time to start up again. I did already talk to my TikTok about this. Okay, we're gonna do like a little bit of like a debrief, okay, because I'm doing obviously my November wrap up, December TBR, but I want to debrief what's happened throughout the month of November because it's been a little insane. I had family come into town for the wedding that I quite literally have not seen since I was a small kid, and so being able to see them was so special. It was so fun, and we stayed for the weekend at the wedding venue. I'm so excited to show you guys like the actual footage of everything because we hired a videographer and a photographer, and so we got a lot of footage for you guys to see. And then I ended up taking a little bit of a break. I took a week break from social media, which doesn't sound like a long time, but for somebody that like does it every single day, it is kind of a long time, but it was very, very nice. It was very much needed. And with that also being said, I was planning on doing Vlogmas. I was gonna do Bookmas with you guys, and I wanted to start December 1st. I had like 6 videos already filmed and ready to edit and ready to go, and I go to edit the first video that I had all put on my hard drive already, and my hard drive just decided that she was done. She was tapping out. She deleted herself. Yeah, so I lost all of that footage, lost all of like the extra footage in like my vacation vlog that I was gonna put out. Like I literally lost everything that I had on there. So I had to go and get a new hard drive. I gotta get a new one, and that genuinely is gonna suck, but it's okay. So with that being said, I'm still doing Vlogmas, I'm still doing Bookmas. We're just gonna do her starting December 12th. So I'll do December 12th through the 24th, 25th, something like that. Still do Bookmas. It'll just be a little bit later in the month just to give me time to like refilm all of that stuff. But in the meantime, we're going to go through all of the books that I read in the month of November. The lighting is so weird in here. Is that better? In the meantime, we are going to go over all of the books that I read in the month of November, and then all the books that I would like to read in the month of December, because I got married in November. Like we got married November 30th. This whole like month was just a lot. It was a lot, and I did not read very much. If you have seen me before, you've seen any of my videos, I am usually known to post insanely long monthly wrap-ups because I'm normally reading like 15 to 20 books a month. I finished 5 books in the month of November, and I started more than that. So we're gonna go through those really quickly, and we'll just kind of like talk about my thoughts and my feelings and everything. And then we'll also, because this video, if I just did my wrap up, it would be shorter, we're gonna also go through my December TBR, and I have a little fun like little thing that we did that I originally did for Vlogmas, but it won't be put into Vlogmas, or maybe I'll like do like a reading vlog for it. Anyway, let's get into the books. One of my most frequently asked questions that I get are about my glasses, and they are from none other than Pair Eyewear, which also happens to be the sponsor of today's video. If y'all have not seen me talk about Pair Eyewear before, I literally love their glasses. I'm currently sporting the Murphy frames in just this black color because I wanted a neutral base to have, and then I get fun with the toppers. I got the Almond Blossom from the Van Gogh collection, which I'm absolutely obsessed with, and I also got these fun Ravenclaw ones, which if you don't know, I'm a Ravenclaw. I feel like that was probably pretty self-evident. And then because of spooky season, I also got these spiderweb ones. I love them because they're black, so they're still like pretty neutral, but then if you look closely, you get the little spiderweb action. You can get the glasses with your prescription, or if you just spend a lot of time on your phone and you want to protect your eyes from the blue light, they do have blue light glasses as well. The website is also super easy to use. All you do is you go to paireyewear.com, and from there you just start searching for base frames. They have a virtual try-on tool, which is incredibly helpful because you can try on your glasses from the comfort of your your home. Once you've picked your base frames, then you can go and pick out some cute top frames. You could be twinning with me, or you can go and pick from their lengthy catalog of top frames that they have. They have a ton of different collections and collabs to choose from. They quite literally have something for everybody. Thanks to Pair Eyewear, you can find cute glasses that fit your style with amazing top frames, all at an affordable price. If you click the link in the description box, you can get 15% off of your first pair of glasses. Listen, that is insane. You will not only look cute, but you will also be saving money while doing it. Thank you to Pair Eyewear for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to it. The first book, these are in no particular order, by the way. I pulled them off my bookshelves and this is what I read. First book that we have here is First Lie Wins by Ashley Elston. This book, listen, I didn't know what to expect going into this book, because every time I talked about it on my TikTok, everybody was like, I literally hated that book, or I literally loved that book. There was no in between, and so I was very much scared to get into it. I read the physical book while I was also listening to the audiobook, and I think the audiobook definitely helped quite a bit. However, here's my disclaimer if you're wanting to read this book. This book is labeled as a thriller. It's labeled a thriller, like a mystery thriller, but it's labeled a thriller. It's not a thriller, okay? To me, my definition of what a thriller is and how thrillers usually make me feel, this was not anywhere near that. I still enjoyed it, but it was not a thriller. And I think a lot of people, when they went into this book, especially if they ended up not liking it or not rating it high, I feel like they went into it with the idea that it was going to be a thrilling, heart palpitating kind of book, and it just really was not that. I still enjoyed the story because I thought it was really unique and it was interesting. It just was not thrilling. So if you go into this book expecting something that's going to be crazy, you don't really know what's going on, all these twists and turns, it was like that, but muted. You know what I mean? It was, there were some twists, there were some turns, there were some things, there were obviously questions that I was hey, actually what's going on right now? It just was not scary or thrilling or anything like that. I still enjoyed how the story was set up and how it was executed, because I still thought it was good, if that makes sense. It just was not really what I was expecting, which is I think what a lot of people probably didn't like about this book. I would say go into this book if you're wanting more of an action, mysterious kind of book, because that's kind of what it was to me. There was more I can't explain it without giving away the plot, so I would go into this without knowing a whole lot, but I would say fake identities are involved. That's not a spoiler, that's literally on the inside flap. But yeah, I would rate this book a 3.5 stars. I think that's what I rated it on Fable. It was good. I enjoyed it. Was not my favorite thriller of all time. I don't really see myself rereading this book, but I did enjoy that I read it. I didn't hate it. I didn't dislike it. I would still recommend it to people if they're wanting, like I said, a identity kind of action-y story, I guess, if that makes sense. Then I also read How My Neighbor Stole Christmas by Megan Quinn. Shout out to my lovely maid of honor for my wedding, because she bought this book for me for my bridal shower, and it happened to be my Patreon book of the month, one of the book of the month books for November, so I obviously read it in November, and I absolutely loved it. This book was so freaking funny. So it's set in this town where they celebrate Christmas all year round. Everybody in the town celebrates Christmas all year round. We're following these two characters. One's name is Cole and the other's name is Story. So Story, she comes back into town after not being there for a long time. She leaves town and she only comes back because her aunt is sick and needs her and her sister's help. So her and her sister, they come back to this town for Christmas. It's called Kringletown. Okay, and she ends up seeing Cole Black again. Now Cole, which is actually so funny, Cole, he has some beef with her, okay? They used to kind of have a crush on each other back in school, but it wasn't anything, nothing came of it. They end up meeting again as adults, and they both enter this Christmas contest, and it is so freaking hilarious. I knew I was going to enjoy this book because I love Megan Quinn's writing, and I felt like this was probably one of her best ones, to be so honest with you. I just love, one, the humor of her books, but also the realness of her characters as well, because as absurd as this book was, literally it's set in a Christmas town where they celebrate Christmas all year round. They're entering these Christmas contests. There's so much about this book that is so absurd, but it also gets grounded in the things that these characters are dealing with outside of what's going on with the town. And so I loved it. I loved it. 4 stars. had so much fun with it. I'm not super well versed in the Christmas books. Like this year was the first year that I actually am finding myself wanting to read a ton of Christmas books. So I don't have a ton of experience in them, okay? This is my favorite Christmas book that I have read so far. By far, hands down, this is the best Christmas book that I have read. I loved the audiobook. The audiobook is phenomenal. I did also read some of it on Kindle because all of her books are on Kindle Unlimited. And I also read the physical book. All three hit. All three were bangers. I loved all three versions. I love all of Megan Quinn's audiobooks already, so I knew I was going to love the audiobook, but I loved it. It was so good. If you're wanting a fun Christmas story where like with more real characters, but at the same time it's just so absurd and funny and you're laughing a ton, this is it. This is it. Then we have My Favorite Holiday by Lauren Blakely. I very much enjoyed this. This one is a single dad romance, okay, workplace romance with fake dating. She needs a date in order to make her ex jealous, and he needs a date in order just to like not be lonely. And so they end up fake dating throughout the holidays, and he's her boss. He is her boss. Listen, this book was spicy. There was spice in it, okay? It was freaking hilarious. I love Miss Lauren Blakely so much. This was my favorite book by her, I think, that I've read so far. I've read 3 or 4 of her books now. This was my favorite, hands down. Fable is honestly probably one of the more relatable characters that I have read about in like a Christmas book, because usually like my thing with Christmas books is that they tend to be cringy, but in the wrong ways. Like, you know how Hallmark movies are cringy and you expect them to be cringy? Normally Christmas books for me are like cringy in a way that makes me want to beat my head against a wall. Does that make sense? And these 2 books, the last 2 books that I read, or the first 2 books that I read for the Christmas season, were the least cringy Christmas books I've ever read. And so I very much enjoyed that. I was very much thankful for that. I enjoyed this book immensely. It was another 4-star read. Listen, a single dad romance is gonna do it for me every single time. Then the last book that I fully finished for the month of November was The Bodyguard by Catherine Center. Listen, I have found a new favorite author of mine, which is going to be Catherine Center. I've read one of her books, that would be this one, and I am simply, como se dice, I'm ready for all of them now. Yeah, so Catherine Center writes no spice romance books. The character growth in these books, insane. This one was, I'm assuming, so from what I've heard of Catherine Center, this one was a little bit less serious than the other ones. Like, it was still serious. It was still very much serious. But there were times where it was like very much unserious, where I was kind of like giggling, but not because like it was actually funny, but it was because it was like, hey, what's going on right now? Aside from that, I literally loved this book so much. It follows a woman who has to be a bodyguard for a like country, I don't know if he's a country singer. I can't remember if he's a country singer or if he's an actor. I always want to think he's a country singer because his name is Jack Stapleton and Chris Stapleton is a country artist, and so I always like get his profession mixed up. He is a actor, okay? He's an actor for action movies. His name is Jack Stapleton, not to be confused with Chris Stapleton. Chris Stapleton is a country singer. Anyways, I loved this book so much. Obviously, when you have like a woman bodyguarding a man, it's like, hey, that doesn't quite necessarily make sense. You know what I mean? Because like whenever you think of bodyguards, you think of like, ooh, testosterone. You know what I mean? But then they explained it in the book where it was like she is one of those bodyguards that like you wouldn't know that she's a bodyguard, I guess, if that makes sense. But because of that, he ends up like it's so good. My only issue with this book is the fact that it was too short. I could have enjoyed another 100 pages of this book because there were characters in here that I wish we would have gotten a little bit more time with. Like, this book was really short. I finished it in a couple of hours. I feel like if this book was like 100 pages longer, I feel like I would have loved it more. I would have loved the characters more. I feel like I would have not necessarily gotten more backstory, because the backstory that we did get was so good. Like, for the amount of story that we got in such a short period of time, it didn't necessarily feel rushed. It was just, I wanted more. You know what I mean? Like, I loved it so much that I wanted more from these characters, and I wanted more in this world. But that's a good problem to have, I feel like. 5-star read, if you couldn't tell. I rated this book 5 stars. I absolutely loved it. Now, let's go over all the books that I started this month, shall we? Because there's quite a few of them. There's a good little stack. We're just gonna kind of like rapid fire through these because I didn't get far enough through any of them to really have an opinion, I guess, if that makes sense. The first book was The Lost Bookshop by Evie Woods. This follows a couple different characters where I think it's set in England. I don't know, I didn't get far enough to like actually find like the real setting. No, actually I think I did. It's either set in Dublin or somewhere in like England. It follows a couple different characters. One, she's like way back in time, and then the two are like closer to present day. There's this bookstore that's also a house, and so like 1 second when you look at it, it's a bookstore, and then the next second it's a house. And so you're following these three characters who like get sucked into this whole like lost bookshop thing, and I was enjoying it while I was reading it. I don't remember why I stopped reading it, other than I think I genuinely just like got sidetracked with other books, which is like story of my life. I am going to be finishing it though. You want to read this when you're like sitting in front of a fire with a nice cup of hot cocoa. Like it's one of those vibes, and I haven't had a whole lot of nights like that because we've been going nonstop with the wedding. But now that it's over, I do want to hop back into this book. I do have the audiobook and I have the Kindle book. We know me. Baggage Claim by Juliana Smith. I have actually gotten a good chunk of the way through this book and I'm loving it so far. Literally, like, so I started this book last year and then I restarted it again a couple of weeks ago. The MMC in that book is lovely. She needs a date for the holidays and he ends up being her date for the holidays because she's single and her family is like worried about her and her singleness. Daughter of No Worlds by Carissa Broadbent. I've been wanting to start this book for literal years, and not years, like a year. Don't be dramatic, Jolie. Anyways, and I finally started it this month and I absolutely adored it. I only stopped because of the wedding. Now that the wedding is over, I will be hopping directly back into this book because it was literally so good and I can't really tell you what it's about. I'm never going to be able to explain a fantasy plot, to be so honest with you. The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. I did in fact start it. I got like 50 or so pages into it. Absolutely am enjoying it, but like also kind of confused. But people also were telling me how I have to get at least 100 pages into it before like it starts to really pick up. So I'm waiting for that, but I am thinking I'm going to enjoy it, okay? Redeeming Love by Francine Rivers, and also A Voice in the Wind by Francine Rivers. We've talked about, I think we've talked about it on here, how I want to start getting into more Christian fiction, and Francine Rivers is supposed to be like the best author for that. So I have started both of these books. I have this on Audible and on my Kindle, I believe. I have this on audio. This is going to be like my cleaning audiobook. I'm loving both of these. This is a hard read. This is also a hard read, but for a different reason. Okay, this is based off of the book Hosea from the Bible. Okay, this is just about I think it's an Israelite girl who ends up getting sold into slavery, and this man, I don't know if she gets sold to him because I haven't gotten that far into it yet, but like I don't know if she gets sold to him and then like she ends up changing his mind. Listen, I'll tell you when I finish reading it, but just know that I am enjoying it. I'm liking it. I have not gotten far enough into it to be able to like tell you exactly what it's about with any kind of precision, okay? Let's get into the books that I want to read in the month of December. Okay, so first we're going to start with my Patreon book club books. I only have 2 of my Patreon book club books, and I don't know where the second one is, so I'm just going to have to like tell you, and I'll put a picture of it somewhere. But the first one is Quicksilver by Callie Hart. I've been wanting to read this book since it's been talked about so freaking much on TikTok, but I kind of wanted to wait until all of the hype kind of calmed down for it, because I don't like reading books when they're at their most hyped, because if I don't like it, people are going to come after your girl. So I wanted to wait until the hype died down, but I'm excited to get into it this month. I really want to start it like today. And then the next 2 is The Christmas Tree Farm and The Christmas Fix. We had kind of like a tie going for the Patreon book club books, so I just gave everybody the option to read it if they wanted to, like whichever one they wanted to read. I will hopefully want to get through all 3 this month, but we will see. So for the month of December, the bulk of my TBR I did not pick out, okay? I had Tyler pick out 12 books for me and wrap them up. He did so good with the wrapping. I love the wrapping paper. And I'm going to be picking out books like throughout the month and reading them. And I think I'm going to do like a part 1, part 2 reading vlog for them. Or maybe I just like put them into other reading vlogs. But I do want to get all of these books read this month. So we'll see how many of them I can get through. But that is kind of like the general plan. I have no idea what these books are. I just let him pick 12 books off of my shelves themselves. It doesn't matter if they're rereads. It doesn't matter. I did give him my Goodreads whenever I had him pick them so that he could see if like what was the first book in a series and what wasn't the first book in a series. That's gonna kind of be what that is. I'm excited to get into them. I obviously can't really like talk about them because I don't know what they are, so but that was my November wrap up and December TBR. I'm really excited to get back into the swing of reading again. I've been missing it so much, but I've been trying to give myself grace because I know I have been extremely busy with the wedding and stuff like that. So, but I want to know, what did y'all read? What was y'all's 5-star read? Okay, did you guys have a 5-star read for the month of November? Let me know if you had a 5-star read, and if you did, what was it? And if not, what was the highest rated book in the month of November that you read? And what are some books on your December TBR? I want to know. I want some suggestions. If you guys want to see my face on any other place on the internet, you guys always know where to go. That is to the description box down below. And other than that, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.